Guys, there is a disaster unfolding in British Columbia in Canada. Imagine you have a river that goes through the mountains, through the valleys, and is going downhill towards the sea, so to speak. The Chilcotin River is merging with the Fraser River further down, and the Fraser River goes down towards the sea. But imagine, it's like building a dam, right? You know what happens if a beaver builds a dam? The water gets built up, and that's basically what also happens if humans build a dam. Behind the dam, there's a lake forming. But if a dam breaks, that can be catastrophic because all of a sudden, a lot of water is flowing down there. But the problem is, we're dealing with something that has been done by Mother Nature. That way, it's more uncontrollable and it can be more dangerous. So a massive landslide has happened. So massive that it has cut a river in half. And by that, I mean completely blocked the river from flowing. So this landslide was so massive that it has built a dam immediately. And it's a massive dam. So the river just can't continue to flow. So what is happening, guys? This is absolutely insane. I have never seen anything like this before.
Gave an update Friday about the Chilcotin River landslide. The BC government say that they're preparing for the worst case scenario and that this is a very highly active situation.
It remains imperative for people, especially those living along the Chilkotin downstream of the landslide, to be prepared to leave on a moment's notice if necessary.
That landslide on the Chilcotin River has happened about 100 kilometers southwest of Williams Lake in the BC interior. The area is called Farewell Canyon, so you can see it here on the map behind me. So they did, when that happened, basically in the night towards Wednesday. It happened towards Wednesday, but now the risk is building up. So then they have already ordered evacuations due to immediate risk of flooding. So this slide happened overnight, and then they were rescuing one man Wednesday morning in an area that is referred as Nakventlet by the First Nations. It's also known as Farewell Canyon. It's a very famous preferred destination for tourists, for hikers, campers, and mountain bikers. So the slide was initially discovered by a local rancher and his wife. They operate a ranch there, and they told the news stations that when they went out to the side of this slide, there was a man calling out from the opposite side of the river saying that he was trapped. So they think that he has been floating in the river and then camping there. And then this massive slide happened, and it's sheer luck that he has survived. So they were able to rescue him, but he was injured, but he wasn't buried by that massive slide. You see the pictures behind me. So I guess you have to be in the right spot, and then you're lucky, and then you're able to survive. So the guy was rescued, but his dog is not found yet. So that breaks my heart. I have animals and I have dogs. It's an Australian Shepherd Border Collie mix named Seko, and hopefully they will find him. He's black and gray, was wearing a collar and a tag. And they said when he got up and started to run from that landslide, he also told his dog to run, and they don't know where the dog is, but they're hopeful that they'll be able to find the pup. So hopefully the dog was running with his person there. So that, just on a side note, the area is quite remote. So it's most often only accessed by like people floating down the river, like by rafters. It's a popular rafting route in that area. But what we have to look at is what is happening if this natural dam is breaking. There's a lot of debris. There's a lot of material that came down with that slide. And if that is breaking, it's also being washed away with the water. So further down the river, they can expect not only water, but also that massive amount of rocks and debris. So we're dealing with flooding upstream because it's building a lake, because the river is blocked, and that is increasing day by day. And then also flash flooding downstream. If the landslide, let's say they're able to clear the landslide, or the landslide clears itself. So they're expecting unpredictable water flow. So at the beginning, they have ordered evacuations for 60 parcels of land along the river. That is covering about 106 square kilometers because of that imminent flood risk. And then today, BC, British Columbia has issued an emergency alert for an immediate threat at the Chilcotin landslide. The alert was issued for immediate evacuation for those anywhere along the Chilcotin River or along its banks from it's called Hansville Bridge to the Fraser River. You see this here on the map. There's the Hansville Bridge, and then it's merging into the Fraser River. And you can see on this picture here that it's already forming a lake where it's blocked. So you can really see it's a massive, massive block that is happening there. And what they're saying is this area of water has already doubled in size since Wednesday. So they have done some modeling, and they're saying that water from this vast lake that has formed behind the landslide, behind the dam, we have to call it a dam, it is more likely, and that might be a good thing, to go over the top of that landslide and then rather than bursting through in a sudden release. But you never know, because this water is putting a lot of pressure on that natural dam there, because more water is coming down the river from upstream. So anything is possible. So if it starts to flow over, it might wash out that dam also until it breaks. But whatever is happening, even if it only flows over that natural dam, the impacts downstream could still be significant, depending on the distribution of that overtopping flow that might happen. And so the emergency crews are saying people along the Chilcotin River and the connecting Fraser River may need to leave the area on short notice. And you know, the Fraser River flows down into the greater Metro Vancouver area, heavily populated. So the province of British Columbia has issued an emergency alert Friday evening, warning people anywhere along the banks of the Chilcotin River and the Fraser River to evacuate immediately. And you see here they have posted this on X as well. It poses a threat to human life. So because they cannot predict what is about to happen. This is such an unusual event. So flooding and debris could flow downstream from that slide, and that's what poses a threat to human life. So they don't have a timeline on when the water will start flowing, and current modeling shows that the overtopping of that dam is thankfully more likely than a sudden break. So the BC River Forecast Center has said Friday night the worst case scenario, if the dam were to rapidly collapse, that would cause flows well above typical spring runoff along the river. Yeah, that makes sense, right? Because it's a lot and it's sudden. So they're saying water would be below typical spring runoff peak levels along the Fraser River south to Hope. That is about 500 kilometers away. So it would not be dramatic in that area, and then when it flows down from Hope into the lower mainland area, Richmond, Vancouver, all these areas, it would not be so problematic anymore. That's what they're saying. And they're also saying there will be time to alert people at risk along the way if they must evacuate further downstream. They're saying there's not a lot that they can do other than sit and wait until the landslide basically clears itself. And this has already happened, it seems like 2 decades ago. And when it burst, that was causing flooding for 4 days. But what we have to say, this current landslide and blockage is way larger than it was last time. So basically what they're saying, there's not much use in worrying about what might happen other than hoping people don't get too close to the water should it rapidly rise after the debris clears. We will have to see what that means for the salmon in the river, because the Chilcotin River is part of Canada's largest sockeye salmon run. Sad thing is, they were expecting a salmon run late next week, and that has already very likely been affected. That run is now in jeopardy, and that's very concerning, of course, because this is very valuable and there's a lot of efforts that are being done to protect the salmon and to increase the population of the salmon again. So the salmon go upstream, they're looking for the coldest water, and that's then where they have their eggs, so that they're born at the highest altitude, at the coldest water, because that makes them healthy and strong. And you know, local people that live there and have seen this before, they're saying, well, we're eventually going to get to a place where it will start overtopping the landslide. And then, you know, all the experts in all the calls and all the feedback that we continue to hear, nobody really knows what's going to happen. And I agree with that. You know, locals and First Nations that live there, they're saying there's a massive body of water that it's building on one side of that landslide. And this is what they say, very, very scary. They say it's hard to describe in words how massive this slide is and how devastating it is. And if you see all these aerial pictures, I don't think they do it credit. I think you have to be there to really see. I mean, this has blocked a river. The BC government's water management branch has said that this lake that has grown behind the dam is already 11 kilometers long. That is long. And a new estimate of the size of the blockage, it is about 1,000 meters long. So that's 1 kilometer long, 600 meters wide, and 30 meters deep. 30 meters deep, that's 100 feet. So what's in that debris that came down that landslide? So it includes burnt material from past wildfires, fine silt, clays, glacial sediment. And the problem is the glacial sediment is more susceptible to erosion and movement than the rock within the river itself. So that makes it even more unpredictable. So I'll keep you updated about this, guys. I thought I'd let you know about this because this is very, very unique and doesn't happen very often in nature. And think about Iceland. If you're watching my channel more often, in the last eruption, there was a lava pond forming. And when the wall around that lava pond was breaking, all of a sudden we had like sort of a lava waterfall that was flowing along the defense walls that they had built around a power plant and a tourist attraction like a pool and spa, Blue Lagoon. And it was getting a massive flow and burst of lava that then was also breaching these defense walls. And by the way, guys, we're waiting for the same to happen again, and it could be more devastating. This time Grindavik is highly at risk. I just released a video about it. It's here in the end screen. You should watch it. It's interesting stuff, what this volcano is doing and how the volcano keeps people busy there. And now they will try something new. The equipment has arrived, cooling lava with water and trying to keep Mother Nature in check. Will that work? Check out that video and subscribe so that you get the latest updates, because I'm Silky and I'm on the pulse for you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for supporting my channels with the supers, with the coffees. You guys are awesome. I see you very soon, guys. Bye bye.